So yeah, so as soon as I get my room in order, I know my mental will be in order. That makes
Wow.
sense. There's no uko na kidonda and then dawa ya hii kidonda yako ni kujikata zaidi.
Apart from sasa mtu sema tu you're going crazy. Can you talk about anxiety? Can you talk about depression?
But you living your fancy story kona ma challenges.
Yeah. Hello, Kingdom Kings and Kingdom Queens. How are you doing today? I hope mko fiti. I hope mko fantastic. I hope mko shwari. And before that, Happy New Year. Yes. Happy New Year. It's Happy New Year till July 25th, guys. 20, whatever. Because this culture of ours, umeambiwa na mzazi Happy New Year leo asubuhi. So Happy New Year. I hope uko fiti. I hope uko shwari. I hope uko excellent. Kama kawaida, mimi niko fiti. And my name is Raquel Cheryl. I love Jesus. He is my personal Lord and Savior. And if you're new here, welcome to Christified, where the Jesus way is the best way. Here we do everything and relate everything with Jesus and through scriptures, and we just keep it real. So, beautiful people, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for clicking this video. If you're listening to us from our audio platform, that is Spotify, and I believe by now we have our Apple podcast on. Karibuni tena sana na sana. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for clicking on this video. If you have not subscribed, guys, please, that bell is just looking at you like guys. We said today, this February, we're giving ourselves a challenge of a road to 1,000. Sindio, we can make this happen. I was telling you how I was never that keen on such numbers, but I saw the impact that it makes. So why not share, like, comment, send it to your grandmother, send it to people, They need to watch these videos. But thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for the previous feedback on the previous episode that we had on money. Guys, kumbe you have issues with money, all of you here. Please make sure you see Purity Kibe pale kando. Probably a consultation fee itakuwa kidogo, but she was amazing. Show her some love in her personal social media platforms. And for us today, we are having episode 3. If you have stayed with us this whole period, asante sana. This episode 3 is dubbed Prioritizing Your Mental Health. Dudum. I know. When is the last time you actually just sat and you wanted to think about your mental well-being? Because you see, what we're doing in season 2 is new me, new year, better me checklist. We're just looking at things that need to make you better. Sometimes you just don't have to be new. Some things are just for you to change, for you to evolve. So we are here and we want to just look at our mental well-being. And I won't be doing this alone because, guys, I think even me, I'm learning because I've already had a therapy session before we have begun. So I hope this blesses you and I hope it helps you take the next step to just be a better you, to just prioritize your mental health. So this episode, ladies and gentlemen, my goodness, I've brought you people who are very serious. I have brought you people, people who have actually, let me call them experts because that's where we are heading. The thing is, this beautiful lady is a visionary of something so beautiful. If you have not heard of it, let me make it known to you. Fancy Story Network. Oh my God. This is something that concerns a lot on mental health. I will give her a minute to speak and let us know more about it. But this lady is blessed. Not only that, vile anaka ni mrembo, her utterances are on another level. And I hope you get to hear from her own experience. You get to hear from the experience she has had from other people because she's been able to lead people in such beautiful campaigns on this mental health thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Laurette.
We
Nakwambia
hiyo ni intro.
ni vile tu nilisahau kuitisha profile, tungekuwa tunaendelea.
Okay. Thank you, Raquel, for that introduction. Yeah, so I'm super proud of you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for honoring the invite. Na
Okay.
unakaa vizuri. Eish, unaka fantastic with your branded t-shirt. I thought you'd have brought two.
See, iko
Ama
pale.
Iko? Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Okay, sawa. But I'm glad you're here today. Today we want to focus on prioritizing your mental health. But even before we go deeper, even before people now get to know who Lau is and get to know other details, let's do some little one-to-one, some icebreakers up and up, Alessandro.
Okay.
So, as quick as possible, let it come from from your mind. The first thing that comes from your mind, make it epic, make it interesting. I'll probably also tell you my answers, but let's see how this goes. Yeah. Okay. So our first icebreaker, if your how your mental health currently looks like, if it had a theme song,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the theme song?
Hey.
What would be the theme song?
Vile iko sahi.
Vileko
If I'm being very,
sai.
very
Yeah.
honest. Okay, so there's this song I really like.
Yeah.
It's a song we used to sing in high school before time exam period. Kuna vile church ilikuwa inajaa watu. So this song,
Mm,
sahi niko hapo.
yeah.
And it's Vumilia Roho Yangu.
Oh, vumilia.
Yeah.
Roho
Roho,
yangu.
that one.
Ai.
Yeah, and yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm aware that's where I'm at. I'm hoping this season ends, but
Yeah.
I know it's for a reason. Hapo ndo niko.
That's
If I'm being honest,
fantastic.
yeah.
If you'd have asked me, I think yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
my song would have been Unikumbuke. Oh my God. Because I was in the beats. Because I was like, what is this? Yeah. But anyways, was it Ros Muhando? But she got me in that song. Because anyways, let's look at the next one. What are the small habits that you can swear by just to keep your mental health in check? It can be hugging a tree, it can be screaming, but there's something that you do daily and you can tell somebody to do it. It might not work for them, but for you, you're so sure.
Okay, so some people might call me crazy, but I think this works.
Yeah.
I talk to myself a lot.
Oh.
I talk to, like, a day won't pass by without me talking to myself. And the best thing that has given me is a better relationship with myself, because like I understand even the language I talk to myself with.
Yeah.
Another thing I have been doing is talking to my mom or my sister,
Oh,
and that
wow.
just kind of helps me, because not just 24 hours is long.
Yeah.
So just having someone you can talk about it with, I think for me it helps. And it's not like even something I'm doing intentional, it just happens. And I'm just like, oh, without this, by this ingekuwa na mtu wa kuambia, this happened. So I think that's really helping me. Yeah, I think those are two practices that are working. Practices maybe I can tell people to do. I don't know what works for you, something healthy that works for you, so maybe take a walk, read the Bible, read a book, call a friend, just anything that aligns with who you are, that is healthy, that's not leading you to a detrimental lifestyle.
Me, I admire these people who take a walk. I'd even get more stress because I'd walk and then see something.
10,000 steps. It's 7. Mtu amefanya 10,000.
16, yeah. People are making money, you're sleeping? Child. Okay. But I think for me, small daily habits that I'd swear by to keep my mental health in check. One is calling my mom. I'd call my mom in every Mama kiameniambia, and she'd always be there to listen and say something like uyo. The other thing is brain dumping. Brain dumping, I learned this from my mentor. I do it the first thing I wake up. Oh, please, oh, Christians, don't come for me. Yes, I pray. I do pray, tell God, thank you. But I sit and I just dump everything. I don't have to think about it. I just throw it. I throw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if, okay, that will not be a good advice, but yeah. Another thing is, when do you know it's time to take a break? What's your red flag experience? Like when this hits, apa, kidogo acha nitulie.
Okay. So I think for me, it's my room, the way my room looks. So nikianza kuona kidogo narusha nguo, I'm not making my bed.
Yeah.
I know there's something going wrong. So yeah, so as soon as I get my room in order, I know my mental will be in order.
Wow.
That makes sense. Yeah, mine is my room.
Yeah. Do I have one?
I actually love that question.
Yeah.
So this is something I learned in one FSN picnic, and this therapist she was talking about so there was a time there were people who are mining. Nona. Sasa when you're mining, so nona you're going down.
Yeah.
Mna mine mkienda chini. So mjui what is happening huko at the top.
Yeah.
So the more you mine, the more dust inakuja. So the dust is affecting you, but you can't know because you're focused on mining.
Yeah.
You don't know this dust is affecting you. So then the community noticed, like miners wanakufa all the time.
Yeah.
Like people are being affected, wanagonjeka, so we can't notice. So what they started doing, they put a bird on top of where they mine. So every time they are mining, there's a bird on top of them. So the bird is singing. So when the bird stops singing, they know the bird imekuwa affected by the vumbi.
Yeah.
So then they will stop. And that's how they'll know now it's time for us to stop. So I like that question because you said you don't know like when things are going bad, but everyone should know.
Everyone should.
The miners would use the bird, so when the bird stops singing, we should stop mining. So even as a human, like I feel like it's something you can know, Raquel, though. Like,
guys, it started.
Like
Therapy has
maybe-
started. Like, guys.
I feel like it's something you can know. So maybe you liked podcasting and then you don't do podcasting anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like things that interest you zinaanza kukaa boring. Like you see like a girl, there's some things you do for maintenance and you get your nails done.
Yeah.
And kidogo 2 months, 3 months, no new nails. Unakaa sijui aje. I feel like there should be some things.
Yeah, that can signal here and
there
there.
should be some things and you can find that out. Like ama you just never let yourself lose. Unakuanga always okay.
Okay. Kwanza see people who talk too much, talk so much, guys. And then we're always around people. Sometimes you don't even notice it because unless my social batteries just go down. But I think it's something that I'll take with me home. I'll take with me home and think.
We should all have like signs. Like you
It's
can tell
nikishaanza
kufanya hii. Like I need to check myself. Maybe I've been overworking.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been overgiving. I'm getting away from myself.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some, signals.
And so after that, what is your go-to activity to actually reset?
To reset, so I told you when my room is looking kama inakaa vile inataka, so I will clean that room. I will also get a notebook and just plan. I'll just get a notebook and plan because sometimes it's a lot of work, especially because we all like use our phones, but sometimes you just have to write things down. Jipange, just sit down, jipange, and then you can find. So maybe what was stressing me, like maybe at the moment, is maybe with FSN things are a lot. So if I sit down with a notebook and I plan, and I'll be like, so I need a change in priorities. So there's no way I can do FSN and work and school and still volunteer somewhere and still be a good friend. So I need to change my priority. So if I write that down, at least I'm able to know. But if I don't write it down, you're never to imeenda. So for me, I'll sit down and I'll write it down.
Yeah. I think I would say for me it's that I would go to sleep. Number one, I'd go to sleep. Like sometimes I normally just feel you just need to sleep for a while and keep quiet. And sometimes I actually schedule time to cry. Because there are places I've been busy and I can't cry. I just schedule time to cry. And I say, this shower is about to go to be 30 minutes. And guys, let's do this. If the neighbors hear it, it's your own problem. But the other thing, if mental health was actually a superhero, what superpower do you think that it will look like? And for me, probably I can go first so that I can guide you on that question. One way I think if mental health, it just sorts my brain properly. If I go make my nails, if I go do my hair, I think it possesses a superpower to actually, to go and reset my mind properly. Yeah. What do you think would be your superpower?
Okay, so Akirakel, your swali.
What do you think?
Okay.
Even showering sometimes works for me.
So So the response that's resonating with me, I think it's gonna be resilience, and that's mental resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think for the longest time, even personally, how I've been viewing mental health,
Mm-hmm.
it's, go and get your nails done and you'll feel good. It's, be gentle with yourself. It's okay if you failed. You can try again. Just something
Yeah.
gentle. But of late, I've realized there's an importance in being resilient. There's an importance in looking at life struggles and actually saying, I can actually push through this, and training
Okay.
your brain to push through that. So that's, I think, an understanding of mental health we don't have so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm starting to lean into that. So I think as a superpower, imagine maybe uko stranded CBD and you just need the mental part to walk through all those people because you have social anxiety.
Yeah.
Then you summon superpower resilience and it just comes and you can do it.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
like that.
think that
What what do you think
Mhm.
was the weirdest piece of advice you have got about mental health? I think the weirdest that I've ever gotten. Somebody told me something so funny last time. The weirdest piece of advice I've ever gotten about mental health was aliniambia nini sijui ni gonge ukuta, but I was like, I'd feel pain. Why should I bring myself more harm? And I think I've not been open to also speak up to people about my mental well-being now that people just see me happy and talking. So yeah, so I think that also sponsored it, but that was the weirdest advice I've gotten, guys. My knuckles are too pretty for such things.
So always taka kwenda rage room.
What do you mean?
Even
Or to
like
break things? I think I want to try that.
It's the same feeling.
It's the same feeling.
That's the same feeling they get when they punch a wall.
But I think you're harming yourself more.
Okay.
What do you think
For
is the
them,
weirdest advice you've ever gotten about mental health?
So I'm calling it weird because it doesn't align with my values.
Okay.
It aligns with other people's values, but kwangu, no.
Yeah.
So let's say you're going through something and then your friend calls you to ende tushike ka quarter.
Yeah.
I call it weird because it doesn't align with my values because there's no uko na kidonda and then dawa ya hii kidonda yako ni kujikata zaidi.
Yeah.
That's what I view like drinking your pain away is.
True.
I've not said don't drink because there's also people who drink responsibly. But then if you are going through something and your solution is to go drink it away, I'm judging you.
You're judging.
I am.
You're
I'm sorry.
You're listening,
I am judging
and
you.
you're judging.
I think you can find healthier ways to cope. Yeah, that's weird. Guys, stop being weird. Yeah, I'm judging you.
And I think, ladies and gentlemen, you've been able to pick Laurette's mind. So probably let's now get to know you deeper. Okay. Tell us, who is Laurette as you go into helping us understand why you are so passionate about this topic, and tell us about FSN. Give it to us.
Okay, so as you've heard, my name is Laurette Phocas.
Yes. Ciao.
But you can call me Lau. Yeah. So I am a child of God. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. Yeah. And I'm a lover of life. I think I really love this life. I think we were put in this life to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell people.
In terms of what I do now, so I do two things. Number one, I'm a PR practitioner. I'm also the founder of Fancied Story Network, where we are making mental health accessible and relatable to young people in Africa. We are doing that. So we make it relatable by running mental health campaigns. And then we make it accessible by training people to be mental health first aiders. Wow. So why I'm passionate about mental health? Yeah. Hi. So I'll just be giving this story all the time. Yeah. So all of us know high school was high school, right? Yeah. We all had the experience we had. It's okay, guys. You can heal. It's time. It's enough time. How many years, Raquel? I've given you permission to heal. Okay. So high school was high school. And I think from my high school experience, even from talking to my friends, like after high school, we'd sit and talk with my friends and they're like, you are going through that. Even me. And I'm like, mbona haukusema? Like, why did I feel so alone in my experience in high school? And that's when I realized wait, even those teachers, they didn't teach me like about mental health. So I came to realize it's a gap in the education system that we don't get to learn about mental health. And even just from my personal experience and seeing the gap, and every time I talk to people, that would come up, and I'm like, so every time I talk to, even right now, we're just from psychoanalyzing Raquel, where does that come from? Why you like that? So I realized it's something we don't talk about, yet we all go through it. Then I realized we go through it, we are so afraid of talking about it because we think we've attached shame to our mental health stories. We think these things, I can't tell people I feel lonely sometimes.
True.
A whole visionary feels lonely. What aniona aje? Ati Raquel gets anxiety and then she's confident. What is anxiety? So we've attached so much shame to our mental health experiences. So even just coining the name Fancied Story Network, it was like we're all going through different experiences, yet we feel so alone, but we are again living the same life. So I said, if I can go through my life experience, yes, I'm having my mental health challenges, then what if I fancy this story I'm living? So that's where we get the name Fancied Story. So then it becomes my fancied story. And then over time, as I'm sharing with my friends, everyone is like, Lau, even me, I want to live my fancied story. Then we start visiting kids in school, and they're like, fancied stories. They're not understanding, but they just know, take care of your mental health and you will be successful. So even them are fancied stories, and that's where we get the Fancied Story Network.
Oh my goodness.
Where just because you have battles in your mind, it doesn't mean you can't lead a successful life. I think we are so scared of sharing our mental health stories because number one, there's shame, there's also stigma, there's also what wataniona aje ama wataona mean, you know, like it's like I can't be a confident person and still have anxiety. That's what we tell ourselves. So we are not proud about our stories. So I think just having the name Fancied Story Network, it's like we're going against the status quo. We're like, you know what, we can have our mental health challenges, we can push through them, we can actually go through high school and actually come out successful, you know. So that's where Fancied Story Network comes from. Something to note, that was the beautiful vision when we started. That's the mind around it when you start. And then 3 years in the game, and it just changes over time. Like it changes over time because at this time I'm so passionate about living my fancied story. But you living your fancied story gonna have challenges. You know, so over time the mission is getting bigger and better,
which is
but it's not getting easier.
But nobody said it would be, because one thing that I like is that it's other centric. It started with you, but how are you comfortable having people come into this space?
But you were just okay. Fancied Story Network. I was not okay. I'll be honest. I was just like, hey God, when are we? Like unakuanga aje. Like just, you know, we need to have a conversation. You give me a dream, a vision. Then now you're involving
then you want me to
share. People. But the beauty of it is that when God gives you a dream, it's not for you. And I think you realize that ukisha realize you're among God's best friends. Like ukisha realize God wants to use you, it's never about you.
Why are you giving me vibes? You're also a firstborn.
I'm not a firstborn.
You're not a firstborn.
Guess which one
okay,
I am?
Are you then a lastborn?
No, I am not.
Which one are you then?
I am a middle child.
Are you serious?
And
they don't behave like this, Buana.
Are
you serious?
Yeah, I'm a middle child.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting to get to know that from you. But I like that your vision is very other-centric. And I would want to know, probably somebody has just had that even before we go on and then we forget it to Kombele. How can people get to join? Because people are hearing and like, oh my Lau, me too. You get ata mimi siata wewe ama
imagine I got you
yeah.
So I think just go to our social media, Instagram Fancied Story Network, and just DM the page. Then you'll be directed to our membership directors who'll be able to induct you into our community, give you an overview and a brief training, and then you can become a fancied friend. You can also go to our website and find that. Yeah, that's how you can be a member of Fancied Story. Or if you're not in a place to join us, because again, the people who are not yet comfortable in community, I think just following us on social media and challenging yourself that I'll live my fancied story. I think you can also be a fancied friend.
That's amazing.
That way. Yeah.
So what kind of activities probably go on? Do you have, is it something that appears once in a while? Is it something like is on, like school?
Okay. So in FSN, we have activities throughout the whole year. Like Kinikama, like
a child, you're a powerhouse or something. Like girl, you're doing all these things.
Girl, so we have activities throughout the year, and just to be honest, this is possible because we have a team. I'm not the one who does all these activities. Beautiful. It's because we have a team. So for example, when we have monthly campaigns, so after every campaign we will have a picnic. And the picnics are usually workshops. They're just picnic dubbed. So we make them in form of picnics because that's how you get to young people. We just want to sit down and talk. Nipe story, 1, 2, 3
akibite kakitu.
But also, then I bring in an FSN therapist.
I see what you did.
Yeah, and the FSN therapist is asking you, how do we heal your relationship with love? Who is the first person who taught you that to be loved, you need to perform? Yeah. So with the workshops, I think that was a way for us to get to fancied friends. It's very casual, but it still helps us achieve our goal. It's also us introducing therapy to young people. Yeah, because most of us the only therapy we know is from watching movies. Yeah. So we don't know how that looks like. So when we have therapists in the workshops, at least young people now have an idea. Oh, kumbe therapy si animal. So they're actually people who want to help you. So that's what our picnics achieve. And then the campaigns, we also have a program that helps us give back to community, because part of feeling good about yourself, that's a big part of mental health, is your ability to give back to community. So we have Fancied Families where we sponsor kids feeding program. Does that make sense? So for example, so the members of Fancied Families are called Fancied Parents. So if you're a Fancied Parent, you get to adopt a kid and then you sponsor their meal plan. So that's been there for 2 years. We paused in 2024, but 2023 we did 60 kids the whole year.
That's amazing.
And they were getting meal plan. And I think just be like, unajua sometimes kila mtu alikuwa anasema nikipata pesa nitasaidia watu. But imagine with what you have right now, you can be able to impact society. That's the aim of Fancied Families. What else do we have? We have 2 panel sessions every year for men and for women, where we just want people to come kama wanawake, we just want to understand how do we better our mental health as women, and also for men. In November, men's mental health. Man, the way watu mnakuanga. Why are you like that?
Yeah, why do you behave like that?
Yeah, so those are the events we have. We have a new program that's the most exciting thing in the world ever.
Tell us
it's
about
it.
It's
also very challenging, where we're training 1 million mental health fancied aiders.
Whoa.
So our first cohort just sold out, and we want in the next 10 years to have trained 1 million fancied aiders.
Amazing.
So we have ongoing training sessions at the moment for the first cohort, but then when we are ready for the second cohort, we'll be able to announce that, and then people can enroll. So that's how a year in FSN looks like. I think from outside looking in, you can just see it as a series of events, programs, nini uko like, hawa watu wako mboka. But from this side,
what is mboka?
Kazi, girl.
Oh, yeah. This is Christified, like senior guys.
I actually feel if Christ was a Gen Z,
you're going there.
Vibe na sisi watu vibe na watu.
But actually, tell us with what all that you're doing. Let's not end it there. How can we support?
how you can support FSN. Number one, become a fancy friend. Like,
Yeah.
Najwa, what we are trying to do is make you aware of your mental health. So become
Yeah.
aware of your mental health. Help
Yeah.
me achieve what I'm doing.
Atutatsaidie Kenya.
Yeah, so also if you view our social media page, we have a link where you can support the movement financially. So just follow that link and you can support the work that we do.
Okay.
Yeah, for partnerships, just email us. The email is also on our social media platform.
Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. And I think so that we can put people in check, because I don't want to assume that everyone understands what mental health is and all that. We can keep these answers. Oh Lord, we can keep these answers as short so that we dive into those too deep stuff.
The deep ones.
The deep stuff.
Hey,
so that we just let people know this is this, this, and this, and this, and this. And then let's get to that sector of Mapenzi. Now that we are in February, let's get to understand, But what is mental health? Most of the time when we hear mental health, we just want to associate it with magonjwa, somebody who is crazy, some lunatic somewhere. But what is actually mental health?
Okay, so in research, this one is just
don't worry.
But I think it's a well broken down answer to what mental health is. And the World Health Organization defines it as, so number one note, it's a state.
Yeah.
It's a state. So it can be good or
it can be bad. Okay.
They say it's a state of well-being that allows someone. So mental health affects human beings, not animals.
Not animals.
Yeah. So well-being, ukoaje,
Yeah.
uzuri wako, So it's a state of well-being that allows human beings to either, number one, cope with the stresses of life. So ask yourself, how am I able to cope with the stresses of life?
Yeah.
Like maisha kinitwanga, how do I cope with it? Number two, can I recognize my abilities?
Yeah.
So it should allow you to recognize your abilities. Number three, it should allow you to live and learn well.
Yeah.
So your ability to learn, your ability to live. Number four, it should allow you to contribute to the community.
Yeah.
So that's what mental health is. It's a state of well-being that allows you to, number one, cope with the stresses of life. Number two, recognize your abilities. Number three, live and learn well. And number four, contribute to the community. So if you're able to do these four things, you have good mental health. Remember, it says it's a state.
Yeah.
So this thing, it shifts. Ni kama kwa balance. So leo iko hivi, ingine iko hivi.
Yeah.
And then these four things, sometimes this one is working, this one is not working.
Yeah.
So it's just on you to check these four things. How am I able to do these things?
And so
that's what mental
the
health
moment
is.
we want to attach mental health conditions with just madness and all that, probably we can talk about them, because I think when people just hear about having mental health issues, because you're saying it's a state, so it can be bad and it can be good, and literally here I don't think we'll even we'll focus on both, but we want to make people aware of mkisema mbaya, what is mbaya exactly. So what are some of these mental health conditions that are there? Is it apart from sasa mtu sema tu you're going crazy, can you talk about anxiety? Can you talk about depression? Can those be counted as nini, ama hiyo sisi tuna regard to just as feelings and it's done? What are some of these conditions? What are the causes of bringing such disorders? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just remembering the first time we did the Nisikize mental health campaign, I challenged myself to go to boda riders. And then now I'm telling them,
God, you have
mental
guts.
health campaign.
Yeah.
Akaniambia easy mento mnasemanga easy mento ni nini? Akaniambia so unajua kaa juzi neighbor yangu walikuwa wanachapana. Sasa hiyo ndo mento. So I realized there's a gap in our knowledge for mental health.
Yeah.
Again, we've not been taught this in school. So he just had mental.
Yeah.
Someone else will hear mental health and they're like, hey, madhari, uni wa madhari. So maybe if I go run a campaign and maybe I'm in the market, they'll be like, hey, girl, madhari.
Yeah.
So there is a gap in the knowledge. And I think now we're closing that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of organizations, there are a lot of therapists and psychiatrists who are making this easier. We are closing the knowledge gap. And also there's a lot of intentionality from people. Like we want to find out more.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Higher, when you ask about mental illnesses and their causes and the types. So first of all, when I say the causes right now, it's not a call for you guys to diagnose. This episode is not meant for you to help diagnose or anything. this episode is an informative one, you use it so that you can help someone get help. Isikwe dawa hii episode.
Lau alisema nikikaanga hivi
Ni
na nasikia uchungu.
wasikie. Yeah, so when we talk about the causes of mental health, guys, me, I love analogies. I'm a storyteller. Higher. So the one that makes sense for me for understanding the causes of mental health, it's mental health illnesses. It's a 3-legged stool. So tuseme hii stool yetu iko na miguu tatu, right? So there are 3 things that cause your mental health illness. So number 1, zinaweza kuwa biological. So maybe the way you were born, maybe your genetic makeup. So also maybe where you come from, like maybe your family history, like, you know, maybe you have a history of that. Maybe also you have an illness. So there's some illnesses that could trigger some mental health illness. Some mental health illnesses. So you're on the leg number 1 for our stool. Number 2, the social reasons. Who are you around? Who is your family? Who's your friend? How did you
never
grow
looked
up?
at it like that.
How did you grow up? What's your environment? Ko Kenya mo ko US? Who's your, you know, like what's the leadership status right now? You know, that will affect your mental health. So that's our stool number 2. Our stool number 3 is psychological. So this one actually, it shocked me. Do you know our hormones affect our mental health?
Are you serious?
Girl, and that's why sometimes during the time of the month, you're just like neza piga.
Unasikia tu ni
and
kama.
it's just hormonal imbalance.
Oh my god, I didn't know
na
that.
mtu anasema madhare, girl. You know, so your psychological makeup. Also, it can be something like personality trait. You've met people who are perfectionists, and that's their personality. And then now the extreme of that could lead to OCD. So these three reasons, they usually cause mental health disorder. So for this, our stool, ikikosa hii leg moja, it's an imbalance. It's an imbalance, you see. Ikikosa hii moja, so sometimes it can be biological, your genetic makeup. So as soon as this is affected, everything is an imbalance. Okay. So these are the 3 things that could cause mental health illnesses. So for mental health illnesses, there are quite a lot in our Fancied Aiders.
Few.
In our Fancied Aiders program, we focus on the 5 most prevalent ones in Kenya. And that's mostly depression, suicidal ideation, anxiety, and alcoholism. So those are the ones we focus on. How maybe you can tell signs of depression, signs of anxiety, signs of alcoholism. The signs are different for every person.
Somebody just said, anxiety? You mean I have a mental health issue? Yeah, alcoholism. We have said we're not diagnosing you, but we want to help you learn what direction you might be taking. So actually, with those few that you have mentioned, probably if you can pick from that, how can you help somebody recognize for themselves or for others that they might actually be undergoing such? Like they might be having some symptoms of, by the way, kidogo.
So the danger of that is that a therapist will never tell you, see, it's not like science, the way we were learning malaria. If you have these 4 signs and symptoms, you have this illness. That's not how mental health works. So they need to have a sit down with you before they diagnose you. So when we're doing advocacy, we don't tell people this is the signs and symptoms of anxiety. That's wrong. That doesn't exist. Because I could have signs and symptoms of anxiety, but I'm just depressed, you know. So you can't just tell from signs. But in advocacy, what we do, we tell people these are the telltale signs of someone who's, you know, going through a lot. So for example, I'm speaking in public and you can see me doing this. I might not be having an anxiety disorder, but I'm feeling anxious, you know. So there are telltale signs. So as a good friend, can you ask me, is everything okay, Laurette? Can you give me water? You know, something like that. So maybe I have a panic attack. Okay, so you come to Laurette, I'm having a panic attack. This is definitely a sign and symptom of anxiety disorder, but I can't diagnose you. So I give you immediate help at the moment. So maybe I ask you, tell me 5 things you can, you know, see, 3 things you can hear, yada yada. So we in advocacy, you learn to know the telltale signs. So for depression, just in general, your moods are
Yeah,
changing.
kidogo.
You know, even your behavior is
Yeah.
changing. Again, once you understand the three legs,
Mm-hmm.
you start seeing how, because we behave according to these three legs.
Yeah.
So even socially, maybe I'm not showing up for meetings anymore. Like niko too sad, sikujangi events. I used to come to church, you guys no longer see me.
Yeah.
In work, I used to perform well. I don't perform well anymore.
Yeah.
In terms of maybe my environment, I'm shutting people down. I no longer talk to my friends. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. Sometimes it, like, you can be having anxiety na tumbo, and it's because of anxiety. So sometimes it even manifests kwa physical health yako. Like, I'm just anxious, you know. So just understand these three legs, and just, these are the telltale signs. So if you see that, then you know my friend needs help. So what you're supposed to do, how many times have I said, don't diagnose them?
We will continue reminding people,
But
because
just give them immediate help.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you then give your friend immediate help?
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So I want us now to go into that topic now. Yeah. With if you feel like you need to adjust your mic, I don't know, because I think you need to tell us.
Yeah.
I want us to approach the aspect of mental health in alignment with Christianity. Because as Christians, we are used to praying our problems away. Kwanza, you know, me, I'm from that side, yeah, Pentecost. We can take a corner and rekatatataya, that sijui what. Sometimes it's just that sit down that I need to have with a therapist, with professional guidance. That's how we tend to look at mental health issues. We tend to look at the mental health conditions. We want to pray away our problems. We want to shindwe our problems away. Yani, I mean, sijui nini shindwe katika jina la Yesu. How can we approach this as Christians, really, in alignment with mental health? How can we look at it? How can we look at therapy? Because Christians, I feel, I have not checked my statistics, don't come for me, but I don't think we are major on that side of mental health. How can we look at it differently, apart from where God, God said, I am beautiful and I am wonderfully made, that some issues you want to keep them aside. How do these two integrate? Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I might have beef with people now, my response.
You
but it's
just-
okay. It's okay.
We are here to protect you.
It's okay. So first of all, I'd maybe challenge us to view mental health as human beings.
Yeah.
You know, like Christian or not, just because you're a human being, you'll experience mental health. I think if you remove the veil of Christianity, you, like, when a human being, like, these things will affect you. So, you know, go get help. But then also, because I do understand the role of our Christian faith in our lives is for us to, like, we have a helper. That's Christianity. We have a helper. We're not doing this life alone. So I actually think when Christ was here, he was really trying to replicate a life that's prioritizing our mental health, but we didn't see it. So I think as Christians, we do a disservice when we don't realize Christ is actually interested in your mental health.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we do a disservice. So first of all, number one would be just remove that veil. You're a human being, mental health affects you. Number two would be, do you know you are Christian? And that you know you're Christian, do you know you have a helper? And this helper uses his brain. So I think the Bible tells us when Christ is about to the last stages of the way of the cross, when Christ is about to, like, amalize, is about to get killed. So what Christ does, he cries to God. And he says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. My Lord, why have you forsaken me? So God is able to cry out to God. He's able to ask God for help. And we still think mental health is not in the Bible. We still think these easy
Tell us.
Higher. He's given, you know, God made himself man. That's Jesus Christ. So he knew his purpose in life. And he still goes ahead and gets 12 helpers. He decides, maybe I shouldn't do this life alone. Maybe it's good for me to have community. And we still think having good support system is not, mental health is not in the Bible. So back to my point, I think we do a disservice to ourselves when we don't realize it's there. It's in the Bible, and he becomes a good model when he cries to God. So even you with your mental health struggles, you can cry to God. But guess what? He didn't stop at crying. He got help. He had support system. He was involved in community. He had boundaries. He went to like what walikuwa anauza in his father's house. It was like, how dare you?
And he did that thing.
And he told them like, this is a boundary. So even us as Christian, we can't even have boundaries in our lives. You can't tell people, by the way, you don't cross these lines with me.
No, me, I'm a Christian.
I still think it's not in the Bible.
I don't shout.
So I think my perspective is that we do a disservice to ourselves when we don't realize it's in the Bible. It's for you. We have so many people who had when you think ndio David andike hiyo psalms yote akipraise. We think he didn't suffer a little bit and cry to the Lord.
He wrote so many scriptures just complaining.
Exactly. So it's in the Bible, like it's there. It's a part of human life. And I think just because we are not aware, we think it's something foreign, which again is a disservice to yourself as a Christian if you still think like that. So I think it's the biggest disservice in terms of telling people to pray away their sorrows. So I think prayer works.
Yeah,
I think prayer works.
I believe there's a role for prayer in mental health.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think the problem is when we stop there. When you just say pray and then you pray and then you go.
Wow.
Because you have to pray, but you also have to put in the work.
True.
You have to put in the work. And I'm sorry for sometimes I think when people when someone tells you just pray, I think that's such a lazy answer.
Yeah, I think
they don't want to tell you need to see a therapist.
Oh my.
They don't want to tell you need to work on yourself. You need to work on your boundaries. You need to work on your childhood trauma. I think that's just a lazy response.
Oh my goodness.
Because if we really cared in the context that Christ left the church, then we'd tell people the truth. You actually have to put in the work.
True, because we can see it practically, I think, everywhere in the Bible. Because even if God himself can say, do not worry about tomorrow. So he knows that human beings, we have a tendency. Yeah. Guys. He tells us rest. Even Jesus rested. Ata God alisema rest. Kumanisha, it's that practical. We can't just pray away our problems. And what do you think are the practical ways? I think we have gotten that. But are there any more practical ways that the church can actually help support people with mental health conditions? Yeah.
Okay. So again, another disservice I think we do to ourselves. So first of all, the church has it's like a high table. Church a high table to almost everything we do in life. Personally, my first friends, I got them in church. They're the kids we used to go to Sunday school with. Some people, relationships, they learn the most from the church. So I think that the church has the high table. So even as members of the church, we have a responsibility to raise this awareness. Because you'll find we're going to the same church, then tunasemanga, ile familia inakuanga tu ya wenda wazimu. What's that? They probably just have schizophrenia, and we are just calling them wenda wazimu and making them feel like outcasts. So I feel like, yes, we have a high table. So let's, heavy is the crown, but let's wear that crown.
Let's come down of the high horse.
Yes, let's wear that crown. Let's, even in the preaching the pastors have in church, let's talk about mental health. Let's advocate for people to go to therapy and for them to get help, and let's pray for them. That, even Sister Raquel, as she starts her mental health journey, that God, you may, keep her in good strength.
Definitely.
So I think if we change the message in the preaching, that will create awareness. The church has such a huge role in how people live. Like, I wish we knew. I wish we knew people look for God and they just look at us. They're looking for Christ. So if we change even how we present mental health to people, can a depressed person who's not in the church see Christ in me? And I lead him to Christ because I was able to, accommodate them. So I think let's change the preaching and messaging and who we are. I think that will help.
Yeah, and also I think let's not just end there, because there's this common phrase that people like to use, church is like the hospital. Also, sick people come, and whatever advice you also get, it's good to also seek professional
for sure
guidance about it. Isiishe Sister Njeri alikuambia yeye akikimbianga tu a first 3 days imeisha. it says in the Bible, my people die because lack of knowledge. People think the knowledge is just how to know kuskiza testimonies of people who are in the Illuminati and they came back. It's the simplest things like mental health. Let's get to know you will die because of such ignoring such things in your life. And I think that's actually very important. Given that we are in the month of love, now seeing that my time is running out and I need to nini. There's kuna mambo mingi sana sijui wewe uko na Valentine ama nisikuanike.
My Lord and Savior.
Lord, help
yeah,
your
and
children.
the church said amen.
Help
My
your
Lord and
help
Savior.
your daughters. Amen.
Yeah.
It there's so much pressure at this time because I just don't want us to look at love. Probably you can expound this to us so well in the minutes that we have, because we want to look at relationships, friendships, boundaries, even as we look at love. Because I know we have had there was a viral podcast that went by and people would judge say mimi siwezi fanyiwa hivyo until you're in that position. We want to look at that aspect of mapenzi where mental health is associated with. Let's talk about boundaries. Let's talk about boundaries and friendships, because sometimes when we talk about mental health, I can't date a toxic man. You and your best friend, shaka already there's a problem, So probably you can tell us, give us some love wisdom on this sector.
Okay, so unajua say tunaka wale coaches who are wachezi game. We're giving advice in areas we're not playing. So in terms of relationship, I think first of all, I empathize with myself and every young people, because no one has taught us how to be in relationships, especially the age we are in, where, if we're being honest, we women are very empowered, and now we are to get into relationships with maybe a generation of men who've not been equally empowered. No one has taught us that. We are in a time where all of us know we don't want toxic, narcissistic men, because that's what everyone says. And people now are not telling us how do we have healthy love. Also, most of us have not seen healthy love in our times. We've seen healthy love by our parents, but those were different times. On social media, you're seeing
Uhuru Park was enough for a date.
They were seeing only maybe 3 hot people in a day. By the time you scroll on TikTok, you're seeing how many. You're seeing like 3,000 attractive people, and you're like
where? Who you?
Choose? So I think most my first feeling is like it's an empathetic feeling with us, because no one has taught us.
Yeah, true.
And I don't think no one is coming to teach us. So now that these are the cards we've been dealt with, how do we make this kind of easier? How do we reduce the comparison? Because I saw my friend yake bought her roses, nika counted hizo pesa.
People should mind their business this Valentine's.
Hizo pesa hata alitumia notes za 50 bob, wangu alitumia za 200. The comparison, and the thing with comparison, it doesn't end there. To make me feel not enough, I'm not being loved well, I'm not deserving of love because you got 50 notes na mwingine alipata 200 notes. You can start having jealousy, where you like even just addressing where that comes from. So I think when it comes to relationships, actually what I tell people, let's really work on who we are. Let's work on who we are, because we show up in relationships with a lot of heart. We mostly have a very broken view of what love is. I think what we view as love is, I think you can see the memes that go around even after this podcast story. Like, you can see the memes, like we are, what they say, we are a broken generation, which I don't think we are. Just let's not go with that identity. But the memes are not defending us. Mnafanya tukae sad na muache. The memes people post about relationships,
meme lords, are you hearing?
Ati kama mtu wako hata kupost on Valentine's, sijui nini.
Oh my God.
So the comparison, our unhealed perspectives about love, I think I'd challenge us to, like, I don't think love is supposed to be like that.
Na isikupe pressure. Kuna wenye wanaenda au wenye ndo wanajibaya hizo flowers, na wanapiga picha na waweke. Unasema akishiro kai, uliona Kenya alipewa. She bought it for herself.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
The
I love
social
what
media
you have said.
pressure. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think if we showed up more authentically in relationships, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have all this pressure, which I
Yeah.
think is something we lack. So our current campaign in FSN
Yeah.
is the story I tell myself. So for Valentine's, I think the team wants to address
Mhm.
what's the story we tell ourselves about love. As I
Mm.
said, most of us have broken perspectives of what love is.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
like some people are from broken families, so the only
Mhm.
love they know is when dad beats mom or when
Yeah.
mom is shouting at dad.
Yeah.
So of course that's how they'll show up.
Oh my.
And then now if you come with that perspective of love, and me, I grew up in a loving home, I'm judging you.
They're
That's why people were
judging.
judging the girl. They were like,
Yeah.
why did she stay? Hata ye hakuchoka.
Good point.
But it's also because I can never understand why you stay in an abusive
Yeah,
relationship.
that's
I
all
don't know
she
that.
saw.
It's for her, that's her lived experience. So you can't understand her relationship with her abuser. So I think in the picnic we'll be able to address that, of course, with the help of our therapist who will be doing a guided workshop just to take people through that. Like, your perspective of love, where did you learn that from? How can you be better, even for yourself? This thing for, showing up in a relationship when you're like, is like, can you be loved in a relationship if you don't love yourself? Do you think you can? Raquel, do you know
No.
you can?
You can?
Yeah, someone can love you more than you love yourself.
Oh, somebody can love me more than I love myself. But the experience of I don't know how to love myself. So how will that work? If I don't know if I can love myself, if I love myself. But I get the point that you're saying somebody can love me more
And
than
somebody
I love
can
myself.
teach you how to love yourself.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they can. Because
Yeah.
who taught you how to love yourself? Think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. I've learned how to love myself from my friends, from my parents.
Yeah.
So some people are learning that from their partners.
Oh my goodness, that's a nice way to see it.
Cheki, sukuje picnic. Sukuje to your event to kwa na hii discussion.
Imagine I'm coming.
Aya,
You said when is it?
It's on the 22nd of February.
I thought you'd put it on 14. 14 sikuna si wenye tuko busy.
Si tunawachia mkwe busy.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So I am glad that you have left some room, but if you are at home, why not give this an opportunity? Na Joe ulisema 2025 is the year you will get out, you will go socialize, you will go for this event, you will go gain knowledge. Hii iko tu hapa. And you know what? Is it that there are any tickets being bought? Is there anything?
Yeah, there are tickets which will be live on our social media by the time this podcast is out. Yeah, the tickets are going for only 500 shillings. Guys.
And I think with that, I would like to buy for 2 people.
Okay.
Their tickets.
Okay.
So I don't know who is worth deserving for those tickets, but probably you can tell me down in the comments if you'd want to go for this event.
Tickets?
Yeah, tell cameraman ameshaanza kusema si wewe you just do our work, but tell me if you'd want to go for this event and you know somebody who wants to go for this event, tell me in the comment section and let me get you a ticket and I'll send you the ticket. Lau, I will make sure that she gives you the honor of that ticket. But Lau, thank you so much for being here. But there's one thing that I think, I don't know if you're going to wrap it up in 1 minute, like literally, the thought of stigma, the role of stigma, how to combat this stigma. And even after that, probably now you can tell people now what they want to hear, like something about prioritizing your mental well-being. Okay. And we'll be done with this episode. Yeah,
so I think with stigma, I think we do a good job with that with our campaigns. So how you eliminate stigma about anything, give people the psychoeducation. So with mental health, you can only stigmatize someone with anxiety if you don't know what anxiety is. So I think number one is awareness. Guys, there's a lot of information online. Some of it is wrong, so be very careful who you're getting your information from. But I don't think in 2025 you have the excuse to still have stigma around mental health. Of course, we empathize with people who received stigma around mental health. I challenge you to join a community of people who have an understanding of what mental health is, because I doubt there's anyone in FSN who's been stigmatized, because these are fancied friends are people who want to learn about mental health. We have other communities. We have Kimbilio. I don't think there's anyone in Kimbilio who's been stigmatized around mental health. So I think if you have received stigma, I'd challenge you maybe to change the community you are in and maybe join communities, because communities are safe spaces. If it's in the context of the church, I think some churches are doing a good job with mental health. I think we're in the age where slowly by slowly tumeacha kuziita mashetani, and we're actually addressing these. So maybe just find a church that works for you, because a church that's still stigmatizing mental health, I don't think Christ is happy there.
Yeah.
I don't think
you preach, you tell them.
I don't think Christ is happy there.
Yeah.
So I would say get into community, then you'll be able to find a safe space. You'll be able to find a safe space. I think that's how you can deal with stigma.
Oh, that's awesome. And is there any last word you want to leave to people? Because, I think there's still so much to learn, and we can't squeeze it in this one episode. But because we are telling people this is a new year for a better you. So on the sector of just prioritizing your mental well-being, what would you like to tell people that probably whatever you'll say will carry them the whole of 2025?
So we have an FSN campaign that's always resonating with me, regardless of which month we are in, and that's the name of importance ni wewe. Just that line. Like you are important, like no of importance ni wewe. I think God makes this very clear because even, you know, that thing where people say like live this life as if you know God is your father. Like tuache kuishi ni kama, you know, God is not our father. So I think God makes this very important, like he makes this very evident that we are his most important creatures. So know you are important to one your maker. Like he's prioritized you. Look at all the blessings amekupea. He left you a whole world to guide you through life. He even went ahead and sent his son.
That's amazing.
You know, and he died for you. You know, I don't die for people who are not important. Hadi Yesu ako hapo anawashanga. You think I gave my life for you to think you're not be serious. So number one, you're important to your maker. You're important. You should be important to yourself. And that should translate in how you treat yourself. So what's the language you talk to yourself in? Who are the people you surround yourself with? What do you consume? What are you reading? Who are you following on social media? Are you acting like someone who's important to yourself?
Unajibebaje?
Thank you. Haya. So I think that's what I would leave people with of importance ni wewe. I think it would be unfair to end the episode without giving people where they can get help.
Yes, please.
So in case someone needs mental health help. So if you DM the FSN page, we have contacts of FSN therapists that we can connect you with. There are so many, so many people are putting in the work to make mental health accessible. Like I wish you guys knew behind the scenes the many meetings people are having just to make this mental health accessible to everyone. We have Kimbilio community and they are able to sponsor your therapy session. So you just give them a DM. We have Red Cross and they have a hotline that's $11.99. So we also have, I think Chiromo also have a hotline. So I think let me give you a link that you can link on this where people can get help. So the thing is, help is there. Unataka usaidizi?
Unataka
help is there. Ndio iko hapa. People have been working. Wewe unataka usaidizi?
That's amazing. So where can we get you? How can we connect with you?
Okay, so you can find me on every social media platform as Laurette Phocas and Fancied Story Network.
Wow. Okay, guys, and that's a wrap. I don't know if that hasn't pushed you to just be a better you, because I think there's a lot that can come and sprout from you. You can evolve so much once you have fixed this place. It won't be all at once. It's a process, but I know you're going to get better. And I hope you get better and better and better. See you at the next episode. Nawapenda sana. Thank you so much, Lau, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.